US President Donald Trump has described his upcoming summit with Vladimir Putin as a feel-out meeting to gauge his ideas for ending the Ukraine conflict. He also insisted that both sides in the ongoing conflict will need to cede territory. Trump's statement was firmly opposed by Ukrainian President Zelensky and the EU bloc, which reiterates its demand to include Ukraine's interests in the peace talks. Ayushi Bhatnagar brings us more in this report.
US President Donald Trump on Monday described his upcoming summit with Vladimir Putin as a feel-out meeting to gauge his ideas for ending the war in Ukraine, as European leaders rush to ensure respect for Kiev's interests, as Zelensky will not be in attendance.
I'm going to meet with President Putin, and we're going to see what he has in mind. And if it's a fair deal, I'll reveal it to the European Union leaders and to the NATO leaders, and also to President Zelensky. I think out of respect, I'll call him first, and then I'll call them after. And I may say, lots of luck, keep fighting, or I may say we can make a deal. Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be made.
US President Donald Trump said Kiev and Moscow will both have to cede land to end the conflict in Ukraine, though Ukrainian President Zelensky and the EU have firmly ruled out ceding territory seized by force, while Trump remains a little bothered by Zelensky's stance.
I expect to have a meeting with Putin that I think it'll be good, but it might be bad. And I'm here for one reason: to get rid of a war that somebody else started. Should have never happened. And if I could end it, great.
Meanwhile, European leaders and Zelensky plan to speak with Trump ahead of his summit with Putin in Alaska on Friday. Moscow hopes the upcoming meeting between Putin and Trump will help in normalizing the relations between the two countries. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Monday that there were no signs that Russia was preparing to put an end to its hostilities in Ukraine, rather accusing it of launching new offensive operations.
There was also a report from the intelligence and military command on what Putin is counting on and what he is actually preparing for, including military preparations. He is definitely not preparing for a ceasefire or an end to the war. Putin is determined only to present a meeting with America as his personal victory and then continue acting exactly as before, applying the same pressure on Ukraine as before.
In a virtual emergency summit of the European Union foreign ministers, EU's top diplomat Kaja Kallas emphasized that any agreement must involve both Ukraine and the EU bloc. In a statement on Monday, the European Commission announced that Ukraine will receive 1.6 billion euros from profits earned on frozen Russian central bank assets, adding that the EU will work on a 19th package of sanctions against Russia and warned against concessions to Moscow. Meanwhile, 26 European heads of state and government said in a statement that Ukrainians must have the freedom to decide their future and that a diplomatic solution must protect Ukrainian and European interests. Ayushi Bhatnagar's report for DD India.